This is Dave, and I'm here with Ethan, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 12-inch.
On this episode, we celebrate David's by celebrating Dave's birthday, and we interviewed David Bowe. And also, Dave eats a Twinkie wiener sandwich for the very first time.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird
It's
Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Happy birthday, Dave!
Thank you, Ethan. You know, there's really no other way that I want to spend my birthday than with you and all of our great listeners.
Well, very kind of you to say that, Dave. Today, we are going to be celebrating two very special birthdays. It's both your birthday and the actual 30th birthday of UHF being released in theaters. And we have a very special treat we'll get to later in the episode.
I'm slightly nervous about that, actually. Another busy week for us. Very busy week. We started out with a concert at Wolf Trap in Vienna, Virginia, which was hot as can be, but absolutely amazing. 71-piece orchestra. It was beautiful.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the show being completely amazing, I think I would have turned into dust and would no longer be with us.
I would have melted.
But yeah, it was, like you said, beautiful venue, beautiful sound. Our first 71-piece orchestra.
Yes, you can hear all about it on our bonus episode, 14 centimeter. And we also have bonus episodes for Guilford, New Hampshire, which you were at.
Yeah, that was my first solo episode where I just sat in a room by myself and recorded it.
I'm so looking forward to hear that one.
Yeah.
Mashantucket, Connecticut, which was at Foxwoods, which was really a cool venue there.
Yeah, and then New York City, of course, was amazing.
New York City was absolutely amazing. It was hot, but it wasn't as hot as Vienna. But
No, because there was a breeze, so it was hotter temperature-wise, but it was less bearable. More bearable.
More bearable, correct, yeah.
Yeah, Vienna was less bearable.
It was absolutely amazing. And of course, we have episodes for Boston and Lewiston, New York.
That's right. That's right. And it's been really a blast meeting all sorts of listeners and other Al fans that I've heard about for years that you knew and that kind of stuff. So listen to those centimeter episodes if you want to hear the inside scoop. And you can hear exclusive information such as what color was Al's beverage? Was Steve wearing headphones? We cover all the hard-hitting topics and, give a full rundown of the day. You find out whether or not we had ice cream. Many important things. I'm not doing a good job of selling them, but they're fun.
They are really a lot of fun, and we go into great detail, and it's really just like sitting with us at the concert. It really
totally.
is a lot of fun. Jim has a new single out, too.
Yes, I just downloaded it. It's so awesome. It just came out on July 20th. It is Lanikai Farewell.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing. Jim, of course, wrote our theme song, which we're thrilled about.
The new single is great, but it's not as great as the greatest theme song in the world for any podcast, past, present, or future. Sorry, everyone. We have the best podcast theme song. And literally everyone I've talked to, even if they've only listened to one episode of our podcast, they always comment on how amazing the theme song is.
It's very catchy. I do hear people singing it, actually.
Yeah.
I really have heard people singing it at the concert. So it's catching on. We're really proud of it. We're really happy with it.
We just need an orchestral version. We need to get the full symphony orchestra behind it.
The full 71-piece
Yes.
symphony orchestra. We're looking forward to it.
We have to hire Scott to write the orchestrations for it. We are continuing the month of UHF, where we're just celebrating our favorite movie. And I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, it's also your favorite movie. We got to speak to a very memorable character from UHF.
Absolutely. David Bowe. He was absolutely amazing.
It is such a funny interview. We didn't want to overwhelm you with too much funny. So it is going to be split up over the next 2 episodes. So without further ado, part 1 of the interview with David Bowe.
Our guest this week plays Weird Al's sidekick Bob in our favorite movie, UHF. We are so excited to welcome David Bowe to our podcast. Hello, David.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks so much.
You can sit down. You can sit down. It's all right. Yeah, I'm kidding, of course.
Oh man, it's so great to finally talk to you. As Dave said, I'm getting so confused about the Dave and David. Sorry. I guess I can just say Dave, and then one of you will talk, and we'll be all set. But as he said, we are huge fans of UHF, and UHF would not be UHF without you.
Well, I agree with you. I know you're only saying that because it's true. So, go ahead and say it. No, it's near and dear to my heart. That's for sure. In fact, you can just call me Bobo the Clown for the rest of the show.
Bobo.
Bobo. Now, Bobo, speaking of Bobo had a very memorable scene in UHF where he got hit in the face with a frying pan. And I know there's a good story behind this. So can you tell us what actually happened with that frying pan?
To be honest with you, I thought I was eating. No, I'm kidding. I did get smacked pretty good with the pan for real. I don't know if you guys know that. That's
I didn't know that
story. That's a true story, but I think it's got it. With Michael Richards, it's so funny, and everybody else in that movie, Emo Phillips, everybody's hysterical, but at least I have that good laugh. That's a great laugh when I get smacked with the frying pan. Other than that, I'm kind of a straight guy. I'm Bob.
Do you actually eat a dog biscuit? What are you eating in that scene? For real?
They actually were peanut butter cookies.
Okay.
Shaped like dog biscuits. Yappies, dog treats, and with just a hint of liver. Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun to actually perform wearing clown makeup because you can really see my expressions. Through all the, I look like it's when you're a clown, you're always smiling, and all of a sudden I'm like pissed off. And good stuff though. Well, Al and I we worked on our stunts before we shot, but a couple of mishaps happened, but I'll get to that later.
I got to ask you about another really iconic scene in UHF, and that is where Al is tossing grapes at you, and you catch them, all of them, every single time. I'm just so amazed by that.
That was not in the script. That was something that we literally had done. I love the word literally because it's true. Had done during lunch before we shot that scene, and I showed him that I could catch grapes. Like from across the room. And he said, we're putting that in the scene. And I said, shut up. He goes, no, let's try it. And we did it in one take, first take.
Oh
I got all the grapes. But, no, I used to have this weird thing where if I had, grapes, I would throw one up in the air, 20 yards. And then you'd take one step forward, open your mouth, and it would fall in your mouth. It's like a weird thing I had. Circus performer trick. But, yeah, no, it was fun doing that. I'm glad it made it in the movie. I'm glad that I caught them all.
What other tricks do you have that we don't know about?
Well, you know what? My dad was great at sleight of hand, like at a party where you could, make a quarter disappear or to put something through a solid table and that kind of thing. So I was always like that. And of course, when I was a kid, there was Marshall Rodine's TV magic tricks. I don't know if you remember that. It's way before your time. Magic can be easy once you know the secret. Hi, I'm Marshall Rodine. Yeah, so anyway. There's 3 people out there that are going to go, hey, yeah, I remember that. But other tricks, I can do a great Maxwell Smart. What other tricks can I do? I can also do a great Tennessee Tuxedo. How about Mr. Gadget? No. I actually did a movie with Don Adams. I was very, very excited and proud to work with him. It was my first major motion picture. It was called Back to the Beach with Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello. It was a return to the beach movies in the 80s. And We had Pee Wee Herman was in it, and Fishbone, and other more recent people. But they also had all these great iconic actors. My very first movie, I got to work with Connie Stevens. I got to work with Bob Denver and Alan Hale. I got to work with Barbara Billingsley, Tony Dow, and Jerry Mathers. All sorts of just crazy characters from iconic, but nobody saw that movie, so let's move on.
I can just imagine, like, as soon as you film your first film with all these people, your resume is just listing all these people you've worked with, and it's like, wow, this guy must be a real veteran. He's worked with all these great names.
Well, I am going to drop one more name from that movie, and it was Dick Dale, who just passed away, great, Hall of Fame surf guitarist. He and Stevie Ray Vaughan played Pipeline in the movie, and I got to be on stage with them, checking it out, and
wow,
that was pretty cool.
That's
that was pretty cool.
Now, we already talked about the dog biscuit. I want to talk about the very memorable food item in UHF, and that is, of course, the Twinkie wiener sandwich. Did you eat a Twinkie wiener sandwich? Have you eaten one since? I need to know all the details.
The truth of the matter is, if that's a expression, I had never seen one before in my life. I tasted one that day, and I've never tasted one since. So you answered all the questions properly. That was another thing that he added to the movie, which was I can put my fingers in my mouth and spread open my mouth like the size of a cantaloupe. Like, it makes a really weird, like, I think they used to call them gurneys, circus gurneys. You can make this weird face. So he said, I want to do that. So he put his fingers in my mouth and pulled them apart. And I think my line was, you ruined my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was another ad lib. That's amazing.
Yeah. So there you go. I have a lot of hidden talents.
Now, I do have another specific question about the Twinkie wiener sandwich, and I'm hoping you can clear this up. I've seen conflicting statements, because after filming UHF, Weird Al became a vegetarian, and so there are some people who say that it was a vegetarian hot dog that was on the set, and some people say it's a real hot dog, and I'd like you to clear that up if you can.
As far as I know that was just an Oscar Mayer wiener on the set. I don't remember him being a vegetarian, or if he went on. I'll tell you who's very health conscious and was constantly meditating and doing like yoga and Tai Chi, and that was Michael Richards.
Wow.
Of course, Stanley Spadowski.
Oh, okay.
He was very just very health conscious, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he was a advocate for vegetarianism as a lism. I like cheeseburgers, so
Yeah.
there you go.
I'm with you on the cheeseburgers there. So, speaking of your other castmates, like Michael and Fran, and of course Al, do you keep up with these anybody on the show still?
Well, the last person I saw from the show was Al when I went and surprised him at his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I kind of crashed the party, but I got to give him a big hug and say congratulations.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Emo was there as well, and a couple other people, of course, Jay Levy. But as far as Fran is concerned, she and I could write a book about our experience on that movie, just the two of us, because she decided that I was going to be her boyfriend, like, for the movie. We're in Tulsa. My husband's not here. I need a boyfriend. You're my boyfriend. Or she didn't say those words, but it's like all of a sudden I couldn't do anything without Fran. Fran needed me to do this with her. Come watch TV with me. Come do it with her. And we had a blast. And she's a doll. And she, in fact, invited me to be on her show, The Nanny. And another crazy moment in my career. It wasn't Deanna Durbin. Another reference you'll never understand. No, my uncle is a famous actor, so I'm going to do a little side shot here. His name was Robert Stack. He played Elliot Ness on The Untouchables, and he was famous for giving Deanna Durbin her first on-screen kiss. There, that's what that reference was. Anyway, when I was on The Nanny, I kissed Fran on her porch, I guess before she went in to tell Mr. whatever his name was, I can't remember. about her dates, and during, you do a pass first on a sitcom without an audience, and they bring the audience in. It's a different energy. There's a lot of stuff going on, and all of a sudden we're shooting the scene in front of the audience, and I slipped Fran the tongue, and I couldn't believe it. We're doing a family sitcom, and we just have a little kiss on the porch, and I jammed my tongue in her mouth, and I thought, oh my God, what are you doing? And I was in my head about it, but then the scene was over, and I go, I am so sorry. If you wanted to, she goes, what are you talking about? That was fabulous. She loved it. Ow. So I've talked to her every now and then, and she couldn't be cooler. She's has a million ideas, and she's always anyway. When my friends came to visit me from LA, they drove all the way to Tulsa, and they tracked me down to Fran's room, and I opened the door and I said, "Hey guys, what are you guys gonna do? I'm here with Fran tonight," as a joke, and they were exhausted, but they couldn't believe that. Fran had sequestered me. Fran Drescher.
That's amazing. So, you filmed in Tulsa. What do you remember about Tulsa?
I remember having a blast. I'll tell you this. I had never been to Tulsa before, but there were two executive producers on this movie. You have to understand. First one is Gray Frederickson. Gray came out of doing the Godfather movies to do UHF. He was Francis Ford Coppola's producer. He was from Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's his hometown. And they also shot Rumblefish, I believe, and The Outsiders in Tulsa as well. So he made sure to shoot the movie there. The other producers from New York City, a guy by the name of Gene Kirkwood, who was coming off of The Pope of Greenwich Village, which was this, great, iconic movie. So we were like, wow, what's going on? We've got these great producers. This is going to be huge. Can't wait. Look at all the fun people in this movie. And unfortunately, I don't know what my point was, but I do know this. Tulsa. Gray took us out on a lake, and we went and saw the play Oklahoma in an outdoor stadium in Tulsa. It was a lot of fun. Fran, of course, Fran and I. She was my girlfriend. And there was a club, the disco in town was SRO, Standing Room Only. I remember that. And when my friends came to town, we had some fun. In fact, the first night, we had a guest star who came into my room, my, of course, hotel room, and stepped into the bathroom and plugged some stuff in, and all of a sudden we heard somebody making Yankaritas. And Al came over and made us all his Weird Al Yankaritas, which of course had plenty of tequila in them, and we had a lot of fun drinking Weird Al's concoction.
What was in a Yankarita? We need the recipe.
I gotta know.
Yankarita is just what you would put in a margarita, only he's got to make it, and then you got to try not to throw up. No, I'm kidding. I don't remember what was in it or what was special about it, other than he was just making margaritas and he called them Yankaritas. Yankaritas, yeah.
So how long were you in Tulsa? What was the filming schedule like?
We were in Tulsa, I think, for 6 weeks, or maybe it was only 4 weeks. It was 4 or 6 weeks. I had a great time. I had a blast. People were really nice. A ton of people just came to be extras, for free. Just came to watch the scenes and be in the movie, and just, I've run into people on Facebook. People, saw me and said, hey, I was in UHF. I was in the big scene at the end at the, outside the U62. Yeah. So, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I've been very fortunate as an actor to be able to travel all over the world. I did a movie in Thailand called Air America with Mel Gibson and Robert Downey Jr. I went to India, Hyderabad, India, to do a movie. It could have been done anywhere, but it was so much cheaper to do it in India. It was called Air Panic. It's one of those airplane disaster movies with Barbara Carrera. And I was the co-pilot who gets ejected from the plane, and got to do one of those green screen flipping around, I'm flying through the air moments. But where else have I been? I went to Florida. I went to Alaska. I went to we went up to a glacier where I filmed a commercial where you could only get to it with a helicopter, and I had a dog sled, and That was crazy. So,
Wow.
Go figure.
Yeah, wow. What was the first scene that you filmed when you got to Tulsa for UHF?
What was the first scene we filmed?
Yeah.
I think it may have been walking into the studio and Fran, going, "What? I was told that I would get to run the station." That scene,
Right.
And for some reason, that's coming, and then also the working at the burger place. That may have been the first day. Was the burger joint, and then we did the Fran scene. But those were the two first scenes we shot, I believe. Big Marge, what was her name? Who was about 4 feet tall. And as she walked around the corner, they had her on apple boxes.
Really?
So that she would be taller than us. Yes.
Oh, that's so funny.
She was like, probably 5 feet tall, and, but she was supposed to be this big, huge person. So they put her on these like little tracks of apple boxes so she'd be taller than us.
I guess to follow up the first question, do you know what the last scene was that your rap scene?
Oh, gosh. I think our last film was the night that we shot the exteriors for the station. Try to save the station, where everybody pulls up and we save the station and everybody has their moment. Kevin McCarthy and the guy with finds the pen, the penny, mm-hmm. and ends up being worth a fortune. But I mean, the cast in this movie was amazing, and I do remember that night and saying goodbye to everybody. And I got to work with Billy Barty. I got to work with, of course, Kevin McCarthy, who I just mentioned, is one of my, heroes in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and David Bowe from, Mean Streets, who was great. He got the staples in his head. And Getty Watanabe, of course. And I did not work with the poor guy who passed away, who was on Silva. What's his last name?
Trinidad Silva, yeah.
Trinidad was so funny, and he had done his scene and then gone back to L.A. because he was a series regular on L.A. Law or something like that. Or no, it was Hill Street Blues, I think. Something where he had to go back to work. And, yeah, it was in a horrible accident and passed away. But still, Tony Geary, a lot of great, people on this movie. Michael Richards, of course, was. You just cannot imagine being on the set when he became this character, because
right.
He really did become the character, and then he turned it right off as soon as he said cut. He would go over and put, kind of like Kramer with the pipe, in the corner, like, let me know when it's time again. I will, take a sip from the fire hose. Yeah.
Right. Now, with all those amazing characters on the show, were there any like pranks that you guys were pulling on each other, or fun, things that were happening when the camera was off?
Yeah, I tried to, keep up with his name is Weird Al, but his name really should be Crazy Al. No, I'm kidding. They called me Peculiar Dave. Now, we had a blast. I can't honestly remember specifically. I do remember having a lot of fun, and when Al comes over and makes Yankaritas, I was like, Weird Al drinks? It's like, hell yeah, he drinks. We had a good time. I didn't realize that Weird Al could drink. But yeah, I'm teasing. We had a blast. We had a really good time working on the movie, and I'll never forget my audition. I went in, and he and Jay were both there. Went straight to them. I don't think it was a pre-read incident, but I wore like black jeans, my sneakers like he wears, with Chuck Taylors, and a Hawaiian shirt, and walked in, and he said, "Hey, you're me," and I said, "I'm you." And, we hit it off, and they hired me, and it was I had the time of my life.
Did you audition for Bob then, or did you have just go in for any role or any?
No, I went in specifically for the role of Bob, and it didn't say anything about wardrobe. I was just being a smart ass and coming dressed like Al, because that was his signature outfit. But they chuckled. We did the scenes a couple times, and it just felt great. We felt like it just was very natural, he and I, and. This was big for me. This was my first starring role in a feature. Paid ads. In other words, if it's on the poster, it's on TV, your name comes up. So that was kind of cool for me. hasn't happened since, but no, I'm kidding. I'm teasing, of course, as far as you know. But no, it was very cool. I'm sure you know the history of when we opened, who we were up against, why we didn't do any numbers at all. The movie disappeared pretty quickly. However, when it was released on video, Blockbuster, what have you, people discovered it, and people, began to, make it what it is today, which is a cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
I've been stopped on the street by I can't tell you how many people said, "Hey, Bob the Clown," or "UHF's my favorite movie," and it makes me feel great because it was a lot of fun to do.
So, was it really until the release that you really started noticing it? And did you notice that again when it came out on DVD and Blu-ray? I'm curious about, the waves of people.
I'm not sure I understood the question, but I remember it was opposite, like, the second Indiana Jones movie and the first Batman movie. I mean, we were up against, like, blockbuster crazy movies that no one, it didn't get the promotion it needed, and it came out at the wrong time. It shouldn't have been released opposite those, blockbusters. But I think your question had to do with I think I did a DVD thing with Al on one of the DVD releases where we talked about the movie. I don't know if you've seen that. But I don't remember when that was released.
Let me rephrase my question.
Say again?
I'll rephrase my question.
Okay.
You mentioned, once it was released on home video, you started fans would start noticing you on the street as Bob or Bobo.
Right, correct.
Was it years later that you started getting recognized for it?
It was actually people. Let's see, 1980. Well, in 1989, we shot it in 88 or 87. And it was many years later when people who had been kids were now like in their teens, so they were like, "Oh my God, it's my," because I've done, you go look at my IMDb, I've done, a ton of guest stars, ton of movies, all sorts of stuff. But I always get, the only thing that I really ever get recognized for, people come up to me, is UHF. And of course I played the stalker on 90210 and tried to rape Tori Spelling. So I was Garrett Slan, the stalker. And a funny story, well, maybe not so funny, but I was in Palm Springs in a restaurant, and all of a sudden the police come in, and they wanted to talk to me. And it turned out a waitress had recognized me as a stalker, as a, scary person, and called the police. And she had gotten, because they were both on Fox, I guess, she kind of envisioned me being on America's Most Wanted as opposed to 90210.
Oh my God.
And called the police on me. And we all had a big laugh. Her name was Brenda. I'm stalking her currently. I'm watching her right now. No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing, of course. But isn't that funny that I was that good that she thought I was a real stalker? Yeah.
I was also wondering, do you get approached by Star Trek fans?
Not only do I get approached, but I am a card-carrying member of the. I did an episode of Deep Space Nine with Nana Visitor, and it was a great experience. I played a Bajoran, I guess, that was working for the Kardashians. Does that make sense? Or it's the opposite? I get them confused, but I basically was if they had these like girls being held against their wills to be in a harem or whatever, and I was running the show, but I was working for the bad guys,
Mm-hmm.
So go figure. But I have gotten all sorts of fan mail for that. I was also on a show, another show that I got to wear prosthetics was Alien Nation, the TV show. I did a guest star on that, and I was a slag head. Got to wear one of those cool alien heads. And Rob Bowman directed that episode and went on to do actually hire me again for X-Files and for Flash show that he did, which I can't remember the name of, but it was so funny I can't remember it. All right, so I'm fired. Anyway, Rob Bowman, good guy.
Yeah, now you've done, you just went through a whole list of acting, of different shows you've been on and everything. So I kind of have two questions here. The first one is, is how is acting in a feature film different than, for example, acting on like a sitcom or a drama or even on a commercial that you've done?
Well, they're all different animals, and to be honest with you, it's some people really excel and do great in one and don't do as well in the other. And I was very lucky because I worked across the board in terms of I did comedy, I did drama, I did TV, I did movies, I did commercials, I did voiceover. Voiceovers is actually what primarily paid for my family. I was the voice of IHOP for almost 7 years. I was the voice of Best Buy, Diet Dr. Pepper, the Buick Regal GS, all sorts of campaigns that you wouldn't know that I was. Brioche pancakes are back at IHOP. That was me. So. IHOP for people who love breakfast. Yeah, so they were very good to me. Pancakes paid for the food that's on your table, son. But no, I did a bunch of pilots, for TV shows. I did student films, graduate films. And now here's a crazy story that I always wanted to share. And by gum, I'm sharing it right now. So you guys lucked out. No, I did 4 graduate films, and these 4 graduate films, the people that made them went on to be 4 of the biggest filmmakers of all time. Their combined box office is over $16 billion. The first one was a kid by the name of Michael Bay. I did his graduate film at Art Center. And he put me in a few things. He put me in a bunch of commercials, which was great, but he put me in The Rock and Transformers 2. And I consider him an old friend. The next one I did was a gentleman by the name of John Turteltaub, who did the movie with National Treasure movies and a whole bunch of other stuff. John's been around for a long time. He did While You Were Sleeping, and he did the Cool Runnings about the what was it, the Olympic sled team from Jamaica. And then the next, I know you guys just can't wait for the next guy. The next 2 were Matt Reeves and his producer, J.J. Abrams. I went to elementary school with J.J.
No
and
way.
J.J. called me up and said, "Oh, I want you to be in my 480 at USC." So I was like, sure. And he's, been a great friend, known him most of my life, and put me on Felicity and put me on just good guy. He's a little too busy right now to think of Bobo the Clown. But the last kid was Sean Levy, who was in a movie that, as an actor that I did called Made in America with Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg. And he played a young director while he was going to film school at USC. And he put me in his 480. And he's gone on to do the Cheaper by the Dozen remakes, the Pink Panther remakes with Steve Martin, a bunch of stuff. Big Fat Liar. But if you look at all their combined box office, of course, JJ helps. That he's
Right.
Star Trek, Star Wars, everything in the world. But just and Bay's insane. The movies that Michael Bay makes are crazy. But so I've been lucky to do a little bit of everything. And more than anything, it's voiceovers that kept me, just being an actor. For 30 years, I made a living as an actor and made a good living. I'm currently homeless, and I'd be living in a car if I owned one. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I am, but I'm not. I did have a little, hit the skid, so to speak. After doing great for 30 years, I couldn't book a job to save my life. It was the weirdest thing. As an actor, you're supposed to save money. But I never let money drive what I did. I was just kind of was gravitated towards something I wanted to do, and I just loved acting, and I loved the projects that I did. I wanted to do them. But all of a sudden, when there was no money, I said, "Wow, I guess this is it." I didn't think I thought I'd have maybe a slow part of my career, but I never thought it would be at the end. And everybody I told that to basically said, "It's not the end. This is the middle of your career. You're going to work for another 30 years. Don't worry. This is what all actors go through, or my slump,
Right.
so to speak." But I got myself a new agent, got back out there, and I'm currently a recurring role on 2 shows. One is called Pen 15 on Hulu. It's a comedy about middle school in turn of 2000, year 2000.
I haven't watched that yet, but I've heard it's incredible.
It's really, really funny. It's great. I mean, I think 3 of the first 10, and we just got picked up for 14 more.
Wow.
And I was added to the cast of Shameless last season. So I'm on Shameless, and we're going to start, the 10th season starts next week.
Wow, that's so great.
Yeah, so I'm back. David Bowe is back. I'm like a cat. Always land on my feet.
I want to back up a little bit. We were talking about, how big UHF was supposed to be. And then, of course, the unfortunate timing and the studio going under. Were there ever talks of a sequel before it came out?
You know what? We all thought this is going to be huge because of the producers that were involved and because of just what they were telling us, that this was going to be the summer movie. This was going to be the movie that everybody's going to come, and it just got lost in the shuffle, unfortunately. And absolutely, we were talking about, well, I'll be see you next year, for UHF 2, for 2HF, all right, yeah, but we are putting UHF the musical up on Broadway. We're right now we're in Tulsa. We have it on stage, and we're putting it on feet. No, I'm kidding. I don't think it's a bad idea, Al. If you're listening, I know that.
I've heard rumblings of people considering a UHF musical.
I think it's a great idea, and it's my idea. No, I do know that Lynn Manuel, who did Hamilton, such a huge hit, is a huge UHF fan. Loves UHF, one of his favorites. And a big Weird Al fan, and they've gotten together, so why doesn't he write a musical and put Bobo the Clown back to work?
Bobo the musical. I think,
Oh my God. From your mouth. Yeah. Great.
I got to ask you a little bit more about working with Weird Al on the actual movie itself. Now, you're obviously a veteran of acting, but how did Weird Al? I know he's done some acting in his music videos and stuff, but how was he as an actor?
Well, I had previously worked on. I did one of the first acting jobs I ever did was played Tommy's buddy on the basketball team on a sitcom called Alice with Vic Tayback and Linda Lavin and. So I've done some pretty big stuff. No, I've done that, and I've done the movie Back to the Beach. So I haven't really done a lot. Oh, and Highway to Heaven with Mr. Michael Landon. So, sorry, I just dropped another name there. You know who's a big name dropper? Sting. You got to watch out for that guy. Anyway, no, let's see. He would try things and try different deliveries and ask me, which one worked or which one's better, or which one, so we did, work on our lines, off sets and rehearse and try to come up with bits. That's where the grapes came from. That's where the fingers in the mouth and you don't want to see the stuff they cut out. My goodness, no. But he surprised me a lot with his presence. But I mean, the thing about him is he's a persona and he's, done what he's done, but to do those videos and to the stuff that he did performing wise was phenomenal. People don't realize just how hard he worked at doing those, iconic Weird Al videos, from Eat It and all those fabulous videos. What we were also excited about was to see some of that come to the movie, which of course, Money for Nothing, Beverly Hillbillies, was, so cool to see finally, because I wasn't part of that. So I got to see it when I saw the movie for the first time. And the Rambo bits, those were kind of funny. And of course he opened up with Indiana Jones. So
Of those great fake, made up shows and movies and stuff, Wheel of Fish, Uncle Nutsy's Clubhouse, Raoul's Wild Kingdom, there's so many classics. Which of those are your favorites?
I love Wheel of Fish. Wheel of Fish, you can't go wrong. Getty was so funny. It just, you're so stupid. It just, and I loved Tony Geary's mysteries or whatever in his little laboratory. He did a great job because he's known as from General Hospital for being that guy, and to come and do such a cool character, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to work with as well. What other shows? Well, I can't lie. One of my favorite bits was the commercial for Spatula City.
Of course. Spatula
City, was top notch. People talking about their spatulas and stuff, good times. No, that's not a joke. There really is a Spatula City in Tulsa. There's actually 7 of them. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
I was ready to book a plane ticket. Don't joke with me like that.
We will have more with David next week. We were having so much fun with him. We didn't want you to miss out on it. We didn't want to stop talking to him.
You definitely got to tune back in next week to hear the rest of it. He starts talking about so much more, and it's so funny. And it's just, you never know when he's being serious, and it's really fun. So I look forward for you to hear the rest of it next week.
Dave and Ethan, it's UHF.
Vicky DeVries,
Scott Sorensen,
Adriana Yukovic,
Dan from Weird Alphabet.
We've been having blueberry daiquiris all day as we screen UHF on its 30th anniversary.
Happy birthday, UHF and Skipper Dan.
Yes, it's also Daniel's 30th anniversary on this earth. We are currently eating a Twinkie wiener sandwich.
Mm-hmm. We are actually eating Twinkie wiener sandwiches. Should we sing happy birthday?
We can sing happy birthday to UHF and to Daniel.
Let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, UHF. Happy birthday, dear UHF and Daniel from the Weird Alphabet podcast. Happy birthday to you.
This is delicious.
I'm going to go throw up.
Very recently, I learned that in the 30 years since UHF has been out, Dave has never eaten a Twinkie wiener sandwich. In his entire life, it's never crossed his mind. He's never made an attempt. Never ever has he had a Twinkie wiener sandwich.
It's true. It really is true.
How has this happened? How have you not had a Twinkie wiener sandwich?
The opportunity to eat a Twinkie wiener sandwich has never come across.
They don't fall from the sky, Dave. You have to go to the store. You got to get Twinkies, and
that's the thing. I never had the opportunity to get a Twinkie wiener sandwich.
Okay, hold on, because this is something that Weird Al fans experiment with. You go and get the package of Twinkies and the dogs and everything else, and you put it together at home.
But it's usually something like, we're going to watch UHF in a movie theater, so we're going to eat a Twinkie. That's when you had a Twinkie wiener
That's
sandwich.
not how I had a Twinkie wiener sandwich.
I've made them before, just at home. I just was interested, and I wanted to try it.
There's never been an opportunity where somebody has ever offered me one, or where
you have to make your own opportunities, Dave.
Yeah, I wish I had known this.
All right, so today is the only reason I'm agreeing to this is because today is the actual 30th anniversary of UHF. July 21st, 1989 was when UHF was first released in theaters.
And it is 2 a.m.
on July 21st.
This is the third day in a row I've seen a show. The second day in a row you guys have seen a show. And we just got back, and we decided we needed to do this. This is our best opportunity. It's 2 a.m. for Dave to have a Twinkie wiener sandwich. And we got home. Jackie had gotten the Twinkies. She got the Cheese Whiz. And then we realized that there were no hot dogs. So Dave and I, we went out. We found a 24-hour convenience store and we went right to the refrigerated section. There are no hot dogs. And we're looking up like other grocery stores. We realized we were going to have to drive like 30 minutes round trip to get hot dogs. So at 2 a.m. we could eat a Twinkie wiener sandwich. So the opportunity never presented itself, but we really went out of our way to make sure it happened tonight. So as we're leaving that convenience store, just in a last-ditch effort, I said, "You guys don't have hot dogs, do you?" And the lady was like, "Yeah, you just have to order them, and then I'll make it for you." So we ordered plain hot dogs. Jackie and I are going to partake in this event.
It's a support thing.
I'm a vegetarian. I don't have any soy dogs, and certainly that gas station didn't have any. So the best that I could do in short notice was this stick of mozzarella cheese, which is shaped like a hot dog. But I have had them before, so I've had them many times before.
I appreciate that you guys are doing this, because I am a little bit freaked out by this, actually.
You're gonna like it. Last time I had them was on Weird Al's birthday, October 23rd last year. I made them as a surprise for my office, and I brought them in, and only like 3 people would try them. When is the last time you had a Twinkie wiener sandwich, Jackie?
Well, that would have been on the Running with Scissors tour when I was, touring, chasing with a bunch of other women about my age, and we had a sleepover, and we thought this would be a fun activity for the sleepover. So we made them, and we're like, well, okay, we've done that.
Well, see, that's my point, is that usually this happens when you're with a group of Weird Al fans.
I did it by myself.
Are you saying you've never been with a group of Weird Al fans?
I have been with a group of Weird Al fans, but no one has ever suggested, let's go make Twinkie wiener sandwiches. That's what I'm saying.
Because they've all assumed you've had one.
The opportunity never came
it's not
up, so
fun
that's
to eat
one.
It's a rite of passage.
So we just came back from the concert in Forest Hills Stadium in Forest Hills, New York, or Queens, New York, or New York City, however you want to slice it.
The Big Apple.
The Big Apple. And we presented to Al. I wanted to get some officially, since this is going to be the first time and probably the only time I'm ever going to eat a Twinkie wiener sandwich, I wanted it to be authentic. So I asked Al, what you need. What is the recipe?
Asked Al.
Jackie, well, before we asked Al, we got in an argument. I've never dunked the Twinkie wiener sandwich in milk. A, because I'm not a milk drinker, but B, because I always felt it was an optional step.
And I always felt that, well, he dunks it in the movie, so you have to dunk it. So Jackie asked Al for clarification on how to make a Twinkie wiener sandwich. So Al's directions were basically you flip the Twinkie over, you cut it lengthwise, you put your wiener inside of it.
Did he say your wiener?
He said the wiener.
The wiener.
Okay, all right.
The wiener inside of it.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of Twinkie wiener sandwich you want to make.
You put on spray cheese, and then he said dunking is optional. However, he did say that for a fan of my stature, if I do not dip, I will lose respect. So I will be dipping my Twinkie wiener sandwich in milk because I think it is the correct thing to do, and because I do not want to lose stature with my family.
And it's also been how many years, and you haven't had
30 years.
You need to make up for lost time.
I want to actually be authentic. I did watch the video clip, and I did note that Al dunks his Twinkie wiener sandwich 4 times. So I will be dunking 4 times. Just to kind of the tip, I don't know how you say it, the tip of the Twinkie wiener sandwich.
This is getting very...
This is getting really bad very quickly.
Al did let me know that it's unappealing, but not as unpleasant as you'd expect. So I'm
And having had one, I would agree with that sentiment.
Agree with that too.
It sounds really gross, but when you actually have it, it kind of works. It's the sweet and the savory and the cheese whiz. You get it all.
He also recommended a warm dog.
As I was going to say, one more clarification. I asked him, should the hot dog be cooked, and he said that's optional. However, it's a little bit better with a warm dog. So fortunately, because we had to go buy hot dogs, I have a warm dog.
Yes.
So Jackie and I will be eating the warm dog. I think I'm the only one that's going to be dunking in the milk. So
we're all doing a different variation.
And Ethan's got his cheese dog.
Yes, I have had them with the real soy dogs before.
I know this is an audio podcast, but We are going to be doing the steps and describing them as we're doing. So let's do the
And
first step.
we are filming a video
Right.
We don't know who will get to see that, but maybe if you're lucky. So how are we going to do this? Should we each cut and then should we each do this each
Yes.
step?
Each step.
So cutting it lengthwise.
Jackie is cutting it lengthwise on the bottom.
Okay.
Right through the dots.
I am
very
cutting
important.
it lengthwise. You know what? I'm a little freaked out by this. I really am. Cutting it lengthwise.
Oh,
I've talked to people who are more freaked out about eating a Twinkie than the Twinkie wiener sandwich.
I can see that.
We did buy these Twinkies 27 years ago, and they seem to be as fresh as you'd expect.
That is how they are. All right, so now I'm putting. This is not really that warm, but
It
it is not warm.
Now I'm placing my. This is weird. I'm placing the hot dog in between the Twinkie wiener bun.
I'm putting my cheese stick in as substitution. I don't know what's grosser, to be honest.
I think that's a little better. All right, I'm gonna put the spray cheese on. If I can get the can to work. Ooh, that's too much.
Oh, all right.
That's too much is
That's
not,
too much.
what you would expect to hear for Cheese Whiz.
Can't be careful.
Dave's trying to put as little Cheese Whiz as possible.
No, I'm gonna do.
Oh, he's doing.
I'm trying to mimic. I'm trying to mimic the.
Okay.
He must have had a can of Cheese Whiz that was almost empty to get that.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
So,
I did a very neat, respectable amount.
I feel like that
This needs to
is
go on
gonna be weird.
Instagram.
I feel like I need to take a picture of this. All right.
Dave almost drops his phone in the Twinkie wiener sandwich. For those of you listening at home,
All right.
here on the 30th anniversary, Dave is trying it for
Now,
the first time.
I noticed that Al sniffed the milk, so I'm going to sniff the milk.
I will sniff it.
Sniff the milk.
Yeah,
Sniff the
it
milk.
smells like milk.
Smells like
Yeah, it
milk.
smells like milk.
So it's fresh milk. It actually just picked it up. Pours it in the cup.
He didn't pour that much, did he?
I don't know. And
you are using a Weird Al themed mug.
I am using a Weird Al themed mug because I want to be as authentic. I am also wearing a UHF shirt.
Yeah, don't ruin that shirt. That's a rare, expensive shirt.
Now this is really weird. All right, so
all right,
are
Dave,
you guys ready? You got to.
Can I do the play-by-play
Yes.
for folks at home? All right, Dave is nervously holding the dog. He's grasping it in his right hand. He's holding the dog with one of his fingers. He is going for the dunk. He's going hot dog first. 1, 2, 3, 4 dunks. There is drips, and it went into the mouth. He took a bite. It got a little bit on his beard. He is turning a bit red. He is regretting not having napkins on standby as the Weird Al UHF expensive rare shirt is hanging in the balance. He's chewing. He's trying not to breathe. He's hoping that, half of taste is smell, and he's trying to avoid part of that.
You know what? I gotta agree. It's unappealing, but it's not as unpleasant as I thought it would be. I think this will be my only Twinkie wiener sandwich.
You're gonna finish it, right? You took one bite.
I don't know.
I feel like you gotta finish it, right?
I think you guys gotta eat your Twinkie wiener sandwich.
All right.
I will finish it if you finish it.
All right, here we go.
All right. So
well, let's cheers.
Let's cheers our Twinkie wieners.
All right.
Ready?
Well, let's wrap up this segment and then we'll finish it.
Okay.
Well, I'll take a bite. You give.
Right, ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Go. I'll take a bite. Ready? Yeah.
Weird.
I mean, a stick of mozzarella cheese doesn't have a whole lot of flavor when paired with Cheese Whiz and Twinkie. I want to try it with milk.
All right.
I don't like milk. I don't drink milk, but I'm gonna try it. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Do it.
Amazing.
I think it's better with the milk.
No.
I tried it with the milk. I tried it without the milk.
It is not better with milk.
It's better with the milk. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's
4.
horrible.
All right, so I'm eating a Twinkie wiener sandwich.
And you think this will be your last one?
I think this will be my last one.
Tell us the flavor profile when you first enter the mouth. I would love to hear.
It's sweet. It's a little bit gooey because of the easy cheese, and it's got a little kind of crunch to, not crunch, but snap to it because of the hot dog. So it's it's interesting. It's not like nothing I've ever tasted before, and the milk makes it a little soggy, which I guess is probably a little bit better. So I've eaten a Twinkie wiener sandwich. Thank you guys for being here and experiencing this with me.
I think if anyone is listening to this podcast and they have not had a Twinkie wiener sandwich, it's time. It's time to bite the dog and try it.
If I've waited 30 years for this, and I think that you don't want to wait 30 years for this. I think because you're going to be ridiculed by your podcast host and your wife.
And it's also like a Band-Aid. You just want to rip it off, get it over with, join the club, and let us know. Give us a ring. Give us some comments. We'd love to hear your reactions to Twinkie wiener sandwiches. And if you want to try it with a string mozzarella cheese, go ahead. I do not recommend that. It is not authentic and it doesn't taste good.
We want to thank all of our listeners and, of course, David Bowe. We'll have more with him next week.
And I want to thank Dave for being such a good sport, eating a Twinkie wiener sandwich, growing a year older, having a birthday. So many things to be thankful for today, Dave.
Yep. You can check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at 2000inch and 2000inch.com. And we also have a Facebook group where our listeners discuss the episodes. So please join in on the conversations there.
And do not forget, you can always call us at 347-SPATULA and leave us a message any time of the day or night, because it doesn't actually ring our phones. It goes straight to voicemail, so we would love for you to leave us messages, leave us concert reviews, tell us anything Weird Al related or podcast related. We would love to hear from you, and you might even hear your message on a future podcast episode.
Yes, if you like this podcast, please subscribe, as it means a lot to us. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, anywhere you can listen to podcasts.
We've been hitting it pretty hard these last couple of weeks, Dave, with all these Weird Al shows. But we do have a little bit of time off before we head out to Denver. So if you're going to be in Denver or any of the Seattle shows or some of those British Columbia shows, remember, come find us. We have stickers and cards and high fives and pictures to take. So we'd love to see you. And, of course, we have the Centimeter episodes that come out with our reviews of each episode and the full episodes every Wednesday.
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 12-inch.
Who are you people? How'd you get in my living room?
Dave, for your birthday, I wanted to surprise you with a little song from the greatest singers in the world.
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dave. Happy birthday to you. Hey, happy birthday, Dave. Woo!